Come on. Is it going? Oh, okay. Yeah, it is. Hey guys, how's everybody? How's everybody dealing with this energy, by the way? This new moon energy is going to be really good. I'm going to wait a couple minutes for the chat to fill up before we get really into it, okay? Hey guys. Oh yes, happy birthday, any Tauruses out there. It is Taurus season after all. Oh yeah. Yeah, this is an awesome new moon. This is a really awesome new moon. And I'm going to get really into it with you guys. I got a lot of notes here. Just because I think that as great as it is, there's going to be some things that I think can really fumble people up a little bit. Hey guys, hey. Your birthday is the 9th. Well, happy early birthday. Happy belated for the 26th. So you guys can tell I'm like really tired. Let's see, guys. It better be a good new moon. That's okay. I know I'm a broken record because I've said this in every single one of my videos this last week. That I'm so excited for May because of all the crazy energy we've had for literally the last year. It's going to be good. It's going to be good. There's still going to be a little bumps in the road the first half of May, but the rest of May is after that. The last half of May is going to be really awesome. Let's see. May is going to be full of abundance. Oh yeah, May is going to bring in a lot of fun. It's going to bring in a lot of fun. So I'm excited for people. The rage is in full effect. I'm a Cap with Taurus. Oh, yeah, that's a lot of Earth. Not to mention May is being dominated by Earth energy right now. Hold on a second, guys. Sorry. So sorry. You guys know I never do this. Give me a second. Anyway, sorry, personal. Girls just want to have fun. Gemini sun here, so excited for my time to shine. Oh yes, I also can't wait for Gemini season. I love Geminis. They get some great energy. I'll give it one more minute because this is a pretty interesting topic after we talk about the new moon. Also, guys, anybody who feels the need to timestamp the subjects, by all means, because I also got a little mini channeling today that I'm going to talk about. Actually, I'm going to open it up with the channeling that I got here for you guys. Oh, aloha! I'm going to be in Hawaii in just a couple of days. Not a couple, more like a few. It'll be nice to be back after I deal with shit, but it'll be nice to be back. Hope you're having a great day. It's been good. It's been a good day. It's just been hard to prep for my trip as far as like this, you know, the clearing out of shit that I gotta do. And actually that's what prompted me to talk about ascension and families, because it's why I'm going, essentially. And every day I've been doing clearing out of stuff and purging. And then when that happens, I make energetic space for my abilities to expand, and it always affects me physically. So that's why it's been hard for me to get videos out for anybody who's waiting. I know I'm sorry, Leos and Saggies. I'm gonna do it after this if my energy's still here. Look at my dark circles. You guys can tell I'm tired. All right, guys, we're like 3 minutes in. All right, so let's do it. Let's get into it. So let me talk about this channeling I got. I had to write all this stuff down because it's a lot of stuff. Not the channeling, just everything in general. So I got a really interesting channeling, and it came in after I did the Aries reading, because Aries, you guys wiped me out, by the way. 444. Oh, 445. Aries, you guys wiped me out, and you guys always do, and that's why it takes me long to get to you. And that's why when I do you, I usually only do a couple other signs in the same day, and they're usually other fire signs. But anyway, so I had to go and rest, and then when I was starting to rest, all of a sudden a channeling came in. I saw a male of African descent. I don't know what country he's in. So there's Black people everywhere. I don't know what country he's in, okay? But dark, I want to say he was darker than me. He was shaven head. I would actually say bald, but like it could just be a very, very, very close shave. And so pinning down the age was a little difficult because, you know, Black don't crack. It just doesn't. He was probably anywhere between 30s and 60s, but very tall, like 6'2", 6'3", probably looking wise, like aesthetically, like 350 to 370. So he was a big guy, and he had a leg wound. Like he was wearing khaki pants, and he had on like a gray t-shirt. Oh, hey guys. He had on a gray t-shirt, and his leg was bleeding. Like he had a cut. Oh my God. I missed super chats. Thanks for the $5. Thank you, Michelle Marie, for the $10. The Aries is my boss. Aren't they always? That's why they're the emperor, right? Sorry, I couldn't help but make that joke. Anyway, he had a leg wound, and it was very specifically, it was on the right side. It was on the right side of his leg on his calf and on the outside of his calf. So if you imagine like the right leg on the outside of that right calf, and it was a deep cut and it was a lot of blood, a lot of blood. What really stood out about this male though, is that I think there was something about his mental faculties that was compromised. So I don't know if he had had a stroke or if he had some kind of like head injury at one point, or maybe if he was special needs, but it was affecting his speech. Like he couldn't really, he could speak fine, but they just weren't complex sentences, very minimal speech capacity. But I really feel like with that, like whoever this is to you, they basically got medical attention. I think that was just like the biggest concern behind that message. And I think because of the compromise to his mental faculties. Thank you for the $5. Keisha, thank you for the $5. And I think that's really why that message came through, because he was alone. And I thought someone of that mental capacity would most likely be around an assistant of need assistance of some kind, or just have some kind of chaperone of some kind, but he didn't. But he was getting help and he was okay. But that was a little channeling that came in. Now let's talk about this new moon. Let's talk about this new moon in Taurus. So I want to really hit home about like the degrees for a second. The degrees are about mid-range, about 14 degrees. Oh, thanks for the 199. Your messages resonate so well. Thanks. Oh, good. I'm glad. I am really happy that they're in that midpoint, because it's not like extreme Taurus energy, like 0 to 5 degrees. And it's not like super, super weak energy, like late degrees, like 25 to 30, which is really good. And for new moons in general, oh my God, $49.99. Teresa, thank you for the $50. Oh my God. Karina, thanks for the $9.99. Oh my, that you totally made me speechless for a second. Wow. Thanks for the $10, Laura. So for the new moon, guys, new moons are always about setting intentions, getting new ideas, starting new things. It's also about going within as far as your emotions are concerned. So people tend to be a little shyer. Also, there's not a whole lot of sleep going on for people. So keep that in mind. So this is going to be a great time to get new ideas and really creative. It's a really good time to get creative. And with that Taurus influence, it's going to be around money. It's going to be around money and things that make us feel good, because Taurus is ruled by Venus, right? So it's like all that stuff that gives us pleasure, all that stuff that intoxicates us. Oh my God, you guys, thanks for the $5 to me. Oh, 1111. I love seeing that. I'm a Libra, September 2. How is my relationship? Sorry, guys. I don't take money for personal questions. Sorry, guys. So going back to this new moon, it's going to be around money and the things that bring us pleasure. Okay. And especially those who are already in like new projects. You know, we had a lot of cap shifts going on in January. So people started planning for these very long-term foundations to set up. And then with all that Aries shifts that happened in March and April, that allowed people to put that into action. But now all this Taurian energy, because we have most of the placements are in Capricorn or Taurus. It's a hell of a lot of Earth to be working with for the month of May, and starting with this new moon, right? It's allowing for expansion on those projects, okay? Just be careful. And here's why I say be careful with this new moon. As great as it is, and as grounded as people will feel, we have other placements that can really fumble people up, okay? So you're gonna get creative, you're gonna get these new ideas, you're gonna get excited, you're gonna wanna start, moving along and progressing with it, especially with that Taurian push, right? That driving force. Mars is in Gemini. So a lot of quick thoughts, a lot of quick thinking. You're gonna be so creative, more so than a typical new moon, and that's great. However, you're going to have so many ideas that it's going to get hard to not get caught up in the fantasy of it, okay, because of that Mars in Gemini influence. So get them all down on paper, all these new ideas you have, get them all down on paper and organize them, strategize, because Taurus is also about slow progression, building things in the right way, no matter how long they take, okay? And like I said, it's going to get you excited. Don't get too excited to the point where you jump into something and you don't think it all the way through. All right. And then Mars shifts into Cancer halfway through May, I believe on the 15th. So then actions, behaviors, they're going to be fueled by that Cancer energy, emotion. Okay, then emotions are going to start really propelling people to take action, coming from just a heart space, not exactly the most balanced energy for Mars. It's basically fire and water. That's kind of a rough mix, okay, on top of wanting to implement all these new ideas after you got so excited. So just make sure that you get all these ideas down, slow things down, and work towards things very slowly, very strategic. You don't want to bite off more than you can chew, okay? The other reason I ask you to take slow progression, Pluto's retrograde right now, and it's going to be retrograde until October. When Pluto goes retrograde, it basically brings up shit that we need to deal with, okay? I mean, think of like, Pluto's ruled by Scorpio, right? It's about the things that are hidden. It's about the things that are, going to transform us, the things that need to be destroyed so we can start creating. All these months leading up until October, people are going to be needing to deal with that shit. Like, you're going to experience like, oh, I'm excited to do this. Let me go and do this. Let me go and start this new thing. Let me expand on whatever it is I'm already building. And then you're going to realize all these little things from the past keep coming up. And you're like, why am I still dealing with this? Didn't I deal with this? Take the time to deal with it. Take the time to deal with those things. Pluto in retrograde is doing that for a reason. So any ideas you have right now from the new moon, they probably won't come into full fruition until Pluto goes direct, which is fall. For some of you, it's going to be winter. I can already feel the frustration. I know, but it is what it is. So that's what I want you guys to take away from the new moon energy. Also, the aspect of all the earth energy around that. You're going to be so much more drawn to nature than you typically are. I mean, my subs, you guys love nature anyway, but you're going to be more drawn to it. You're going to be more aware of it. I know I can't keep up with all the super chats. Thank you to everybody who's been sending super chats. Have a safe trip. Oh, thank you. I hope I have a safe trip. I was checking my chart and my aspects, and I chose like the worst day to travel for my chart. And I'm like, oh shit, but we'll see how it goes. I'm optimistic. I'll be fine. I'll be fine. But yes, the nature aspect. People are going to be a lot more aware of nature than they typically are. And especially on the new moon, I really encourage you guys to actually plant something, like even if it's just a tiny herb or something of that nature, to actually plant something as you're setting and planting your intentions for the things that you want to come to fruition. Just be prepared that you're going to be so creative in overdrive that you're going to be able to come up with something that's fucking amazing for your life. And it's something that could even be life-changing for yourself. But you got to take the time to strategize and not get overly excited and not get overly emotional once Mars goes into Cancer, okay? So just keep that in mind. Okay. Anything else with the new moon? I have all these like little notes here. No, that's pretty much it for the new moon. Oh, the signs you're going to feel it the most. So moons are always rule Cancer. Cancer always feels the moon shifts, always. But it is in Taurus. So Taurus is going to obviously feel it the strongest. But fixed signs are also going to feel this and experience these things, okay? So like Aquarius, Leo, Scorpio. Scorpio will probably be second hit, like second hardest to hit, but it's a good thing. So it's not a hard hit, right? But Scorpio will be second because Scorpio is a water sign and it's also Taurus's complement, okay? So Taurus and then Scorpio and then probably Aqua, then Leo. That's just kind of how I'm feeling it. And mostly the mid degrees because the new moon is in 14 degrees. I believe it's 14. It could be 13, 15, but it's in that mid range. So check your charts for any of those fixed signs and the degree placements. Cafe astrology is great. Cafe astrology is amazing for that. For those who have always asked me about like where to go to check your charts. Okay. Okay. So that's the new moon. It's going to be good. Like, I'm excited, guys. I'm really excited. I've already been sensing it. Oh my God, that's the other thing. Your senses are going to be heightened because Tauruses are all about the senses and feeling good. It's just that Venus influence. Touch especially is going to be heightened. And it's so weird because I've actually been experiencing that like the last couple of days. My lips have felt weird. And at first I thought, did I eat something I'm allergic to? Like they're all, oh, thanks for the $9.99. Oh, thanks for everything. Guys, I love my job. I love my job. I love talking to you guys. I love helping you guys. It's been an amazing ride. I don't ever want to stop doing this, honestly. But yeah, that's the weird thing. At first, I seriously thought I was having an allergic reaction and I was trying not to freak out. And then I realized it wasn't going away. And like, even when I drink things, they feel more tingly. And I'm like, oh, this is weird. It's like it's hard to get used to. Oh, thanks for the $1, Alyssa. But yeah, so be prepared for that. And anybody who gets to enjoy the sense of touch with another, have fun, enjoy. I'm jolly. So that's the new moon. Let's talk about ascensions and how this affects families. You're amazing, feeling down in B-Day tomorrow. Oh, happy B-Day, Pink Star. Happy B-Day. God, I thought I was pregnant because I was smelling everything. Oh God, I don't need that sense heightened. I don't need my sense of smell to be heightened. That's okay. Yeah, that's not a fun one. That's not a fun one to be heightened at all. Oh, sorry, my guides are talking to me actually. Food, something about food. Those of you who are, how do I say this? Like super tasters, you know, like you can really taste food. You really like food, maybe suffer from a little bit of food, like addiction or codependency. Be very mindful of that during this time. And it's only for the time of like the new moon really. And then once the next new moon comes, I actually have to check when the next moon is. I don't know what sign it's in. I got to double check that. Especially when the next new moon comes, like it won't be as much of an issue, but just be mindful of that. You might like want to eat a lot more than you usually do. Yeah, be mindful of that. Especially that happens with new moons anyway. People tend to overeat because they're a little more like shy and reserved and they're really like within. People tend to overeat more. But anyway, so let's get into ascensions. I've gotten a lot of questions about ascensions. And I just really want to share my personal experience with you guys, especially in how it affects families. Because that is really fascinating. And I feel like people don't really talk about that. But sharing just my personal experience, because everyone looks at ascension differently and no ascension is created equal. Like no ascension is created equal. Getting lost in the chat for a second. Is it normal for your divine masculine to be constantly touching you in the 5D? Keaton, oh yeah. Yeah, it is. It's quite normal for the masculine to be doing that. And, you know, even as you're sleeping and you're like, oh, someone's trying to cuddle with me. What is this? Yeah, be prepared for that, especially if you're newer to the journey. I feel like it happens a lot, like really early on, and it's like way later too. Like, I feel like there's a big midpoint where it kind of like doesn't happen that much. Oh, thanks for the $9.99. Thanks for sharing your gifts with us. Oh yeah, that's what they're meant for. It was meant for me to share with you guys. Thanks for the 503. Thank you for your heart, mind, and soul. Aw, thanks guys. So yeah, anyone dealing with divine masculines, yeah, be prepared for that one. But let's talk about ascensions. So biggest question I get is what is an ascension, right? And I'm just going to explain it very simply because it means different things for different people depending on their beliefs. So to me, an ascension is basically, it's an expansion of your consciousness. It's an expansion and elevation of your consciousness that raises your vibration, raises your frequency. That's the simplest way I can put an ascension. And again, it's because I don't want to offend anybody who might believe something else, but that's what it is to me. Okay. And with ascensions, the other question I get is like, why does it take so much healing? Can you feel someone else's DM in 3D though? If their higher self is coming to you, yeah. If their higher self is coming to you. And if their higher self is coming to you, it's more of a 4-dimensional experience. It's more of a 4-dimensional experience. And I'll get into dimensions too, since we're talking about ascensions. I feel like there's a lot of confusion around the 4th dimension. Like as compared to like the 3rd dimension and 5th dimension. You were super kind and talented. I view many readers and you raised them. Oh, thanks, ladybugs. That's cool. Oh, thanks for saying that. That like made me all giddy. But anyway, so back to ascensions. That's the simplest way to put ascension in simple terms. But the next question I always get is why does it take so much healing? Like why? And that's because of the ego. Now, I know a lot of you have heard the term ego death. Oh, thanks for the 1108, Jamie. Thank you. I'm moving away from the term of ego death because I feel like it's misleading. I feel like it's actually inaccurate. And I'm trying to take on the term ego healing because we actually need our egos in the 3D. Like we actually really need it. It serves no purpose in the other dimensions. Like it serves no purpose whatsoever. The ego is basically like, it's a protection mechanism. That's the best way to describe the ego. It's a protection mechanism. And we need that here. Like we just do, like, you know, rules of 3D, right? I like ego healing. Yeah, because it's like you really can't get rid of it, and you really shouldn't get rid of it in its entirety. It's not possible to, but even if you wanted to try, you really shouldn't try to get rid of it entirely. You need to heal it, because it's meant to protect us. That's why we use it. That's what it's for. And egos become overdeveloped or become unhealthy because when we experience something, whether it's a past life, whether it's this life, you know, any kind of trauma, that event is, you know, remembered to some extent, and the fallout of that event, the repercussions of that event, and that causes the ego to become overdeveloped or to grow in an unhealthy way, causing more triggers. Like anytime someone gets triggered, that's the ego acting to protect that person. You know, it's a protection mechanism. So when you heal those traumas that cause the ego to be overdeveloped in the first place, that's what will bring you closer to a higher vibration. That's what's going to raise your vibration. And clearing that stuff out anyway is going to make more space for your abilities so you can ascend and so you can awaken and be in a much, much happier state of being. Oh, thanks for the 777. I am a Cap, Sun, Leo, Moon. I'm crushing on a Pisces. Should I tell him? To each their own with telling people how you feel. Every circumstance is so different, guys, when it comes to sharing your feelings. Like, I'm pretty transparent. You guys know me. I just like blah, 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 blah. I just put all my shit out there. I really don't care about the repercussions of what I have to say, but everyone's different. So I feel like it's not my place to tell you all that you all should tell everyone how you feel. That's a very personal thing. But let's talk about the ego a little more, because this is going to help me segue into the family component of ascension. So these traumas that happen that can overdevelop the ego, they're traumas from this life, like childhood, relationships, awful events, things of that nature. Excuse me. Also past lives. Yeah, past life trauma can affect people. And it's amazing to see the difference when people are allowed to look at their past lives and heal from that, or do past life regression and heal from that. And then the last trauma that I think people don't ever touch on really is the trauma in bloodlines. Okay. And this is fascinating to me just as a topic. Oh my God. Trusted Soul, dude, thank you for the $50. You guys blow my mind. Every time I do a live, you guys blow me away with your donations. Thank you so much. Anyway, I'm like, every time I see a number like that for donations, it really throws me. Where would a person who wants to ascend start at? Start at, excuse me. It depends on where you are in your spirituality. I feel like for most people, it starts with a spiritual awakening. And I feel like most people kind of get triggered into it as opposed to voluntarily going about it. I almost feel like it finds people as opposed to people finding it. And that's a big part of ascension too. People who have ascended, people who vibrate high, people who are awakened, they tend to trigger other people. It just tends to be the effect. And you'll notice that like in the last few years, like I would say there was a pretty big awakening like 2011, 2012, and now we just had another massive one. In this last year, it's like, but it's an exponential effect because these people keep triggering more and more people. And that's also the effect in families, which I'm going to touch on too. But back to the bloodlines really quick. I'm going to get to it, I promise. But back to the bloodline stuff. And they've done studies on this. You know, when they look at descendants of Holocaust victims or descendants of slaves, and it's like they have these like PTSD, like traumas, even if they haven't experienced anything like that. And it's because it's been handed down. Like we've all heard of muscle memory, right? And they're realizing that there is a connection with that. It's like when someone suffers such a physiological trauma, it's almost like this, like literally it's like a muscle memory effect where it gets picked up by all of the cells in the body that have experienced that event at that time. And also time is not linear. That's the other component. Time isn't linear. It's like when you heal something in this present, you're healing it in that timeline. That's also the effect of that. That's why we can have such trauma from generation to generation to generation, even if nothing crazy happens. You understand what I'm saying? Because of things that have happened in the bloodline centuries ago. that's why ascension in families, there's such a crazy effect of that. And also because of, like I said, time is not linear. And for my ascension personally, and this is where I'm going to get into the personal stuff and start explaining more of the questions that you guys had. My ascension started taking place January, February with Sedona, which was a crazy ride. By the way, shout out to Missy and Adriana from Magic in the Cosmos. Please reach out to them if any of you need energy clearings or like DNA activations or just have questions. They're incredible. They're incredible. They're amazing. I work with them pretty often. I get sessions all the time because I'm like, this is a very continuous thing for me. There's a lot of healing to do for my family as well. Is that part of the divine masculine, divine feminine journey to heal the bloodlines? It's definitely tied in. It's definitely tied in. It's like, I do find with divine feminines and divine masculines, there is a sense of ancestry there from my personal experience. And I want to really emphasize from my personal experience, because every situation is so different. But I have felt like with the divine feminines, divine masculines, there is a sense of ancestry behind it. And I know for my journey in particular, ancestry is a big part of it. Yeah, exactly. Everything is connected. Everything is connected. And so when I ascended, I knew like intuitively my family would be affected because we are all connected. Every single one of us is connected on the energy network. And most people refer to this as the unity consciousness, right? And I've realized even through my own journey that with families, it's like a network of energy within the network. It's kind of amazing. And my ascension triggered my mother. And my mom has abilities. I've told you guys about this. A lot of people in my family have abilities, whether they talk about it or not. They do. They do. And it triggered my mom into her ascension. And then we started having all of these 5D experiences with healing the family, leading the family. Are you actually ascended? Ascension, I feel like, is a never-ending process, to be honest with you. And that's where there's a difference of opinion, because no ascension is created equal. Every ascension experience is very different. Okay. Sorry, totally sidetracked me for a second. Every ascension experience is different. For me personally, I feel like it's going to be a never-ending, constantly ascending, because I'm constantly working with my family's energy and healing that. And I know I've triggered some of my family members. And with my mom in particular, it's so amazing to kind of watch from afar. Like when you've started your own ascension and your own process, to see the effects of it, like it reverberates, it's amazing. So then my mom got triggered in her ascension, and I started having these 5D experiences with the family, and so did she. And now it's transitioned to a point where she's still working with the family in the 5D, but with her generation. And for me, I'm starting to see it manifest in the 3D more, which is really cool. It's really cool. And for anybody who's going, I feel I triggered a lot of family members. Oh yeah, like you can't help it. You are energetically connected to your family through past lives, through this life, and obviously just through genetics. But that's the other component to it with families. There's the genetic component, and then there's the component of spirituality, where many of us have had other lives with family members, like genetic family members, because more often than not, certain members of our genetic family are also members of our soul tribe that we've traveled through with many, many, many lifetimes. And there's always wounding there that needs to be healed. So something to keep in mind, okay? Now with triggering people in your family, anybody who's had trouble with this, or anybody who's just started their own ascension journey, I want you guys to understand that you have members of your family who are already, more spiritually enlightened than the average bear, who might have abilities, who might already vibrate a little higher naturally. Oh, thanks for the $10, Tony. Thank you so much, because I've seen your work with me to heal in the vibe. That's the other cool part of my job. I actually do see a lot of you guys in the 5D, and I do get to work with you guys in the 5D, which is really cool. Yeah, dreams, total 5D. That's 5D stuff. Dreams. I always like to say dreams. Anyway, just know that the people in your family who are a little more spiritually enlightened, who naturally vibrate high, or who will have abilities naturally, you're going to feel them first. You're going to feel those energetic connections heal more. Like if you're going to feel closer to them energetically, you're going to feel that they're going to be becoming a little bit more aware, a little bit more awake. And for me in the 3D, it's like, it's definitely starting to shift to the point where it's like, I'm talking to them more about it one by one, baby steps though, baby steps, total baby steps. I also want you guys to understand that you will have those family members who vibrate really low, who have a really overdeveloped ego, who are not spiritually enlightened, who will fight it, okay? And at the end of the day, you can't make anyone do anything as far as their spiritual journey. And I know I've come into contact with people who have felt the need to try to force that on people in their family. You can't force it. If they're vibrating that low, that's on them to do what they want to do with that, okay? And just so you know, you will experience backlash even in the 5D. I've already experienced it. I knew it was coming. I know more is coming. The higher I ascend and the more people in my family who wake up or who even may or may not start their own ascension, there's just going to be more of that. Oh, thank you, Christine, for the 199. Love and light, safe travels to Hawaii. Oh, thank you. So be prepared for that, okay? And at the end of the day, like I said, you can't force anyone to do anything about their spiritual journey. It's up to them. It's up to them. And it does require a lot of healing, and a lot of people are not willing to do that kind of work, you know? And that's on them. That's not on you, okay? And yeah, so just know that as you awake, as you ascend, people in your family will feel that. And you're going to get to a point where I kind of am now, where it's really cool. Like this actually just happened maybe like like a week ago or so, where I was so painfully aware of my individual energetic connections to each person in my family. It was so interesting. And I felt the difference. I felt the energetic difference of the channels feel more repaired. The channels feel much clearer. Like, oh, this is how this is supposed to feel. It's very cool. Like I can even tap into their energies a lot faster. Like I can tap into them and be like, okay, that one's a little depressed because life's been a little hard. Things didn't come out the way they expected to. Oh, that one's real angry. Oh, okay. You know, it's really amazing. And I actually had a big milestone recently where one of my cousins, his higher self, came to me and we had like a full-on conversation. It was really cool. It was really, really cool. I was like, oh, this is awesome. Should I be concerned if I see dark shadows often? Christine, for the 199. Thank you for the 199. What does your intuition tell you about that? Because I feel like dark shadows, I feel like people can misinterpret them. I feel like they also could be a number of things as well. So if whatever your intuition's telling you, I would go with your gut reaction to that. I see shadows, but I know that they're not malicious to me, but that doesn't encompass all dark shadows, right? I would go to your intuition with that one, okay? Are the solar plexus or root chakras affected by the new moon? That's individual to individual. I would say that's individual to individual. It depends on where your chakras are at, as far as like, are they balanced? Are they open? Are they closed? That would be person to person. If you feel like you're having upset stomachs, things of that nature, or if you feel really ungrounded, like very unpredictable in your behavior, then I would say that you just need to make sure that you put a little extra focus on working on those chakras. Oh, happy birthday, Jordan. Happy birthday. But yeah, guys, with Ascension and families, it's a beautiful thing. It really is, because it's going to bring you closer to people in your family who have abilities, or people who are vibrating high, or people who need to heal some shit. And also be patient. Practice patience. I know that's really hard, but practice patience. And you'll be so surprised. Like when I got back from Sedona and I got around my family again, oh my God, I felt it instantly. I felt the instant difference. And I was like, this feels amazing. Akis, I think that's how you say that. Akis, thank you for the $9.99. I really appreciate that. What was the other thing I wanted to touch on? Oh, blueprints. That's the other thing I wanted to touch on. Guys, when it comes to your ties with family, again, past life and bloodline trauma. Oh shit! I just had that thought and it just ran away from me that quickly. I got so distracted by looking at the chat. Blueprints. That's right, blueprints. See, my Mars and Gemini is coming out. Careful with this new moon. This is what a Mars and Gemini looks like. Okay. With the blueprints, sometimes it can actually start to distort blueprints. And that's why so much work has been, that's why I've been doing so much work with my family, and why my mom is having to do so much work with my family. A lot of blueprints have become distorted, okay, as far as our family is concerned, which is not good. Like, that is not good. Blueprints are basically like what the shit we're supposed to do, right? And it's interesting too, because when that was brought to my attention, because of Adriana and Misty, which again, thank you guys so much. I love you guys so much. We got to talk soon. We really got to talk soon. That was brought to my attention when I had a session with them. And it made so much sense. It made so much sense, because I feel like I've seen that in my family, where it's like we've all had a sense of what we're supposed to do, but it's like, why can't we ever seem to get there? Oh, Monica, thank you for the $24.99. Thank you so much for your beautiful vibe and energy. You're amazing. I'm still learning how to work with my ascension. Sometimes it scares me. Sending you lots of love, lots of life. Thank you for sending me life. Sending you lots of love, safe travels. Thank you, Monica. That's really, really sweet. Yeah, ascensions are not like for the faint of heart. They're really not. They're very physical. And it requires a lot of, the physical part is like, sorry, I don't know why I'm getting so stuck on the physical part. They're physical. I feel like people don't understand that. They're very, very physical, and they can take a lot out of you, but I do feel like it's so worth it. It's so worth it to do the kind of like healing that is required. And another thing about ascensions, it makes you realize how much healing really needs to take place. And it's like the compounded effect of past life trauma and bloodline trauma. It's like, it's a never ending barrel of healing. It really is. And it makes me think, like, how many lifetimes was I not doing this? How many lifetimes was I not working on all this shit? And if I just took care of it then, I wouldn't have to heal it now, For anybody who just refuses to do any healing work whatsoever on themselves, or refuses to look at themselves, blame the Geminis. That was interesting. I love Geminis. Geminis are awesome. But yeah, anyway, guys. So that's my take on ascension and families, and I hope that was helpful to you. Because like I said, just prepare for the backlash, even in the 5D. Like, oh my God, the backlash I've gotten in the 5D from some of the members of my family, it's just like, calm down. I just joined your Patreon community and just saying hi. Aw, thank you, Sun Soul Astrology. Thank you for the $24.99. But yeah, be prepared for that. But guys, it's such an amazing thing, and especially when you realize the traumas that like you never really knew about. Like, and actually that's also what I think honestly got me into really talking to my ancestors. It's really important to get your ancestors closer to you. It's really important. And all you got to do is just talk to them. Just talk to them, think about them, get pictures out and have them around you, and like meditate with them. Like, that'll bring in ancestral energy around you to start this healing work for you. Like, it's been really, really beneficial. And actually, even before I started my channel, well before my ascension and well before my awakening, I decided to research my family history, because I was not allowed to know my family history. Lisa Marie, thank you for the $5. I love your gift. I'm sad. She's a Cap. Why can't we stay away from each other? Oh, the people who are hard to stay away from. I know, it's always... some people are just that addictive energy, and people will say it's a karmic thing if you feel that addicted to somebody. And I think there's some truth in that. I feel like when you become so addicted to somebody like that, it's because there's some shit there from past lives that need to be worked through. That's my belief anyway. But yeah, that's what got me started, guys. Like, I wanted to research my family history because there were just too many missing holes for my comfort, honestly. And I knew my family was not going to be ecstatic that I was doing that. I didn't care. I was going to do what I was going to do. And I did it. And it was like, oh my God. It was like the amount of shit that was just never discussed, that was never disclosed. I was just like, wow. And I could see the effects of my generation from the shit from like my great grandmother and great grandfather's generation, even if we were never exposed to that, right? It's in the genetics, it's in the DNA. So no, it's important, guys. It's really important to get close with your ancestors. It's really important for ascensions. Okay. What do you mean by backlash? Like, they'll be pissed. They'll be upset. I'm trying not to get too personal, because my family will probably watch this video. Try to keep some things private. Like, for example, my mom just had an experience which was unpleasant, where one of the members of her generation like full on like attacked her in the 5D, full on, and not just them, but also you know, their children, full on attacked in the 5D. My mom handled it. She's fine. She's strong. She's very spiritually strong. But yeah, like shit like that will happen. Okay. Kundalini energy is not bad at all. Oh yeah, no. No, Kundalini energy is not bad. It's just physical. It's just very physical. You just really feel it. Okay, that's the other thing, guys. When I first experienced, this is total like ascension confessions. When I first experienced Kundalini energy, I was like, what the hell is this? It really caught me off guard. It's like you feel it like up and down your back. Like sometimes for some people it starts in like the small of their back and then it'll rise all the way up to their head. And for some people it will go full blown into like your whole body. And when I was in Sedona after my first session, that was the first time I experienced my whole body in that energy of like the shaking. And I was like, oh my God. It's like, it's a good thing I'm not around other people. They would think I'm possessed or something. But no, Kundalini energy is great. It's a great, great thing, especially for those who like practice Tantra, or tantric sex, tantric meditation. Definitely, if you guys have a partner who is on the journey with you and you both have experienced a lot of that, definitely I encourage you to explore Tantra. Definitely encourage it. It is life-changing. It is. It's life-changing. But yeah, guys, we're at 40 minutes. I should probably stop talking. And we've covered everything. We've covered everything that I wanted to go over with you guys. And I think that was pretty informative. But yeah, so I hope this was helpful. And I'm going to click off. I still got to try to get Leo and Sag done tonight if energy permitted. Aries, you guys really took it out of me. Energy permitted, I'll get Leo and Sag done. Is there a way to remember things in the 5D? I can't remember things, but I know I was talking to people. Sometimes it'll happen, sometimes it'll happen for a reason. Like actually, I was going through that for a little while where I wasn't allowed to remember. I wasn't allowed to, but there was some special like learning stuff I was going through. Like I was actually like, for lack of a better word, I was in training in the 5D, for lack of a better word. So I wasn't allowed to remember it. But if you're having trouble remembering, first I'd ask your guides. Like right when you're in bed and you're ready to get into like sleep, just go, hey, can I remember this time? Can I please be allowed to remember what happens? I really want to be allowed to remember. Please help me remember. Please allow me to remember. And that actually is very effective. Also just setting the intention for yourself through the day. Like I will remember my 5D experiences. I will remember what happens in the 5D. I'll remember who I interact with in the 5D. So practicing with that. Oh, Smobstar. Thank you for the $50. You're the truth. You're the truth. I love that. Thank you. Thank you so much for the $49.99. And honestly, everybody who sent over super chats, thank you guys so much. Sorry, I need a little. Anyway, thank you guys. Thank you guys so much. Like I feel so loved by my subs and like by my soul tribe. Like you guys are really amazing. Thank you guys. Thank you so much. How did you get started on the SO? Oh, a very, very, very young age, to be honest with you. Very young age. Okay, that's the last question I'll answer, then I'm really gonna go. Okay, because you guys know I have trouble getting off. Started at a really young age. I always had abilities. I always saw things, heard things, sensed things. And when you're a kid with abilities, it's kind of hard to ignore that and fall into, oh, that's what normal's supposed to be. Well, I know that's not what I am, right? And when you know that, it's like, what else are you supposed to do besides explore it and try to figure it out? And I took the route of trying to figure it out. And so for many years, I just tried to get my hands on anything that made sense to me and try to learn as much as I possibly could. And I feel like a lot of people, especially empaths in particular, go through this phase of like rebelling against it. And I definitely did, mostly because, it automatically makes you socially weird. It does. It just makes you socially weird when you're a child. It just does in our society. And especially for those who don't have supportive parents. And my parents weren't exactly supportive. My mother, I think, was terrified in the beginning. Even though she had abilities, it was one of those things where it's like she didn't want to accept it within herself. Sorry, getting real personal. And I just had to make, lemons out of lemonade out of lemons, or however that phrase goes. I don't know how to say that phrase. But I did go through a stage of rebellion where I did just, at the end of the day, I just wanted to fit in. And empaths also, I feel, also go through major depression period during puberty, like more so than a typical teenager does. And I definitely went through that. And I just started to rebel it. I tried to push it away, especially when you start having experiences that are testing your control of your abilities that are not exactly safe or don't feel safe. I'm going to say feel safe. That don't feel safe. So I did reject it for a good while. And then when I went to college, there was no rejecting it. That's when I had major sleep paralysis episodes. And that was a lot to deal with when you don't understand what they are. And I'll do a video. Actually, let me write that down because I'm going to forget. Sleep paralysis video, because I'm a Mars and Gemini, I will forget. How old are you? Oh, I'm older than I look. I'm older than I look. Yeah. And when that started in college, they were actually, the first one was so terrifying. I was hysterical. Like, there was no calming me down. And actually my parents had to come and like calm me down. Like, it was really bad. It was really terrifying the first time. But when you understand what they are, it's like, it takes that scary factor away. And I think that's also why people struggle with their abilities. They just don't understand them. They just don't get it, And it's like, when you have the understanding behind it, it's like, oh, okay. That's what that is. It's like, when you know what's going on, when you take away the unknown factor, it makes anything less scary, anything. And then when I graduated, to be honest with you, when I graduated undergrad, I would say that was actually my first like real elevation of my abilities. That's when I first started to truly see things. And actually, oh my God, I'm like, you guys are making me have like realizations like right here on the spot. There was a period of time, and it was the summer after I graduated. I had these intense headaches, like crippling. And, now I understand what that is. Oh my God. Compassionate Gina, thank you for the $50. So grateful I have you in my soul tribe. Sending love and light from stars. Oh, I love it. Thank you guys. And now I realize what those headaches were. It was my crown. It was my third eye opening, and I was seeing more entities that I've never seen before, and it was freaking me out. And the headaches got so bad, I actually went to the emergency room one night. And first of all, doctors who tell you really horrible things right off the bat without doing any tests, don't listen to them and don't let them make you scared. Okay? Because I walked into the hospital, and he's like, well, you could have had an aneurysm. Instantly, I started to cry. I was like, why would you tell anybody that without running any tests? But anyway, they did the head scan thing. I don't remember these terms. The head scan thing. They did spinal tap. They couldn't figure out what it was. And no matter what painkillers they gave me, it would not make the pain go away. Of course, now, knowing what I know now what that was, right? But that was a long time ago. Like I said, older than I look. That was a long time ago. But anyway, it started very young. There was no way I wasn't going to be on this journey. And it was written that way. It's part of my blueprint. It's part of my blueprint. Like, there was no way this was not going to be my path. And I did fight it. I did. Like I said, I went through that stage of rebellion, and I fought it, and I tried to fit into normal society and be the normal person with a desk job, blah, blah, blah. And not to say that that's, a bad thing. To each their own. It's whatever is meant for you. And that wasn't meant for me. And I went to school over and over, trying to make it work, couldn't figure out why I couldn't get a job, no matter how much education I had, no matter how much experience I had. Why can't I get a job? Why does no one want to hire me? It's because that wasn't my path. And once I just accepted that and embraced the things that made me happy, the things that were just natural to me, like my abilities, like, boom, YouTube. Like, honestly, guys, it was like, oh, yeah, when you follow your path and follow what's right and what's meant for you, things will fall into place, okay? Don't fight what feels right. Don't fight what feels good. Don't fight what you already know to be true about yourself, because that's going to lead you down the path you're supposed to be. And when you fight that and try to fit into a norm, that's when you're going to experience a lot of resistance. This live is my B-Day gift. Well, good. I'm glad it's helpful. But okay, see, now we're almost at an hour, guys. I gotta go. Okay. All right. That was it. I think that was very helpful and informative. I do have to go. I hope you guys have a really great night. And thank you guys for checking out the live, especially like we still got over 900 people, like almost an hour in. I really appreciate it, guys. But yeah, I'm gonna click off. Okay. Thank you everybody again for everybody who set up the super chats. Thank you everybody for supporting me and for helping me get to, by the way, I'm at like 112,000 subscribers. That's insane. And that's all because of you guys. So thank you. So have a good night, guys. Namaste. Bye.